Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Hopefully a few more folks will join in. We'll start off slow to get the ball rolling. Let me introduce myself. My name is Carrie. I work in the financial aid and student accounts offices here at SUNY Plattsburgh. I'm happy to be talking with you tonight about those particular topics, financial aid, paying for college, what to expect in the whole process flow, and getting a better understanding of what's to come. So we're going to go over quickly the financial aid application process. Hopefully most of you are through that process already. We'll talk a little bit about what you see out there in the form of your financial aid award summary, how you get to that, and how to interpret it. And then what follows is, over the summertime, your first student bill will be generated for your first semester. We'll talk about how you're going to pay for college and manage that bill and some of your other costs. And then the communication process as well with our offices. Okay, if you have not yet, I encourage you to submit your financial aid applications. Two primary applications if you are a New York State resident. If you are out of state, then we'll discuss some other options in a minute. So the FAFSA application, free application for federal student aid, you're going to fill out by by starting the process with something called an FSA ID. The student gets an FSA ID, the parent gets an FSA ID, and with those IDs, you can submit and sign and submit electronically your FAFSA application. Now, I certainly understand there are some families listening who may not end up qualifying for free money through the FAFSA. I still encourage you to submit the application. It is used as a starting point for some other applications, such as Excelsior. It also will notify us and any other colleges you may be considering that you have interest in receiving financial aid, so that we can evaluate your application and your status as an admitted student and provide you a financial aid award summary, a package that lets you know what financial aid programs are available. You certainly may choose to not participate in some of those aid programs, like loans, for example, and that's certainly a choice that's always available to you. But we won't really communicate financial aid opportunities to you without receipt of your FAFSA application. So get your FSA IDs and then work your way through the FAFSA. You make sure that you've completed the 21-22 school year application. And if you haven't yet done so, there's certainly still time to do so. We don't have an application deadline, although we do encourage you to do it as soon as possible, because you really do need time to think about how you're going to pay for college and review the financial aid options presented to you, and consider which financial aid programs you're going to participate in and which ones you're not interested in. So you complete the 21-22 FAFSA application, and then that second application that I mentioned that I encourage you to fill out if you're a New York State resident is the New York State payment application, sometimes called the TAP application. There was a link to it at the end of your FAFSA, but if you missed the link, you can go directly to the website, which is tapweb.org. That link's on your screen and will be available in the recording. It's also, we also have a web page that talks about applying for financial aid, and we've got links for any pertinent websites in the process on our web page as well. That's called Apply for Aid. If you are not a New York State resident, but are coming from a state outside of New York, I encourage you to contact your state agency, your state education agency. Use their website, use any chat functions or emails that they offer to find out if there's any resources you can get as a student who may be attending outside of your state's borders. Also, if you are an individual who is either residing in New York State under the New York State DREAM Act, or are residing outside of the state and may qualify for resources under the New York State DREAM Act, I encourage you to visit the state's website, our state's website, which I'll have on screen in just a moment, and look at potential options that may be available to you for financial aid resources. Okay, so that website, the New York State website, to learn about the DREAM Act, to get into your access to your application to see the status of your submitted payment application, to review what scholarship and grant opportunities New York State offers, including things like the Excelsior program. HESC.ny.gov is their website, and there's a lot of useful tools on that site and links that'll give you more information about resources available. Also on this screen, I'm showing you some websites that offer you search engines for scholarship searches. So you can look for scholarships any number of ways. There are millions of websites out there that you can explore. We've found over the years that some of those websites are helpful and some aren't so helpful. So these are just a few of the many that we find to be fairly accurate in the data that they provide you, and fairly comprehensive, so that you don't have to go to a lot of different websites. This is the perfect time to apply for scholarships. In fact, some scholarship deadlines have already passed, but some are still coming up very, very soon. If you have not yet looked for scholarships, I encourage you to do so. And I am going to slow down for just a minute. In fact, I'm going to back up and mention now something I should have mentioned when I started. I have chat open. Please, please, please feel free to submit any questions as we go along. I'm happy to answer questions on any topics we're talking about. As we go, I'll interrupt myself to reference your questions, and I just find that that's more relevant for you as a participant in this conversation, for you to get your questions answered right as we are discussing the particular topic. So please use chat if you have any questions. In addition to doing scholarship searches and checking out our state or your state's education website to see if there's resources available, talk to your school counseling office. And I certainly understand that that might not necessarily mean that you're visiting that office in person. If you're schooling remotely, do so virtually with your school counselor, email them, chat with them, make an appointment if you are in school throughout the week. Talk with your school counselor, because they often are the office that receives direct communications from scholarship organizations, particularly in your community, but also beyond, and can point you towards available resources specifically for students in your school district. So they're a terrific resource for you. Our website will continuously be updated on any scholarship opportunities. We have lists of scholarships available on our website. If you're looking at other colleges, use their websites as well for information about financial aid opportunities and how to apply and how to pay for college and all that stuff. I also encourage you to look and talk with your employers, look on their websites, look on your payroll office, your human resource websites. If you have a union affiliation, visit the union website or talk to a union representative to find out about maybe some dependent tuition benefits or scholarship programs or tuition waivers that might be available through your employer. There's lots of different resources available that way as well. You just have to inquire about them. And then also think about those organizations in your community that might offer resources to students in the community heading to college, and inquire with them as well. Okay. So after you submit your FAFSA application and after you are admitted to SUNY Plattsburgh, we will send the student an email to the email address the student provided on the FAFSA, advising the student that their financial aid award summary has been prepared. And in that email is a link out to the award summary. You've probably become familiar, or if you haven't yet, you will very soon, with accessing your applicant portal. And there's links to it from all of our communications. There's links to it from the admission pages of our website and from our financial aid pages as well, to get into your Plattsburgh portal to view all of your status regarding admissions, regarding financial aid. At a future date, we will be providing you information through your SUNY Plattsburgh portal on your billing status, your participation in summer orientation. You will really use your portal for pretty much everything you're going to do as a student. So I encourage you to set up that access, use your net ID, create your password, log in, and begin using those links available to you and seeing what's out there. We will You will always have access to your financial aid award summary in your portal. So if you missed that email or did not get it from us, you can go directly into your portal to the financial aid menu and access your financial aid award summary, your SUNY Plattsburgh award summary. We're going to talk a little bit about what information it shares and how to interpret it in just a second. I can't stress enough that email and all of the notifications that our office provides to you about financial aid opportunities, about billing dates, and the existence of your student bill, and all of those things, those email communications are, first of all, going to be email. We don't send anything in writing by mail to the mailing address. And those emails will always go to the student's email address. That's really important because it's likely there might be one or more parents listening to this conversation tonight. And I certainly understand that you have a vested interest in this process and maybe the one ensuring that activities take place and actions occur. But we will not communicate with parents throughout this process. There is a way, we'll talk in a second, for the student to allow certain communications to be provided to the parent. But in general, our office, student accounts office, the billing office, I mean, registrars, housing, everybody, all the offices on campus communicate directly with the student. It is their education, it is their academic records that we're communicating about. And so they need to be really attentive. The student needs to be really attentive to email. And also, if they aren't that attentive to email, at least forward the emails along. Again, we're using the FAFSA email to share information with you now. Eventually, we will convert to using your Plattsburgh email address, and that will be the primary way we communicate. Okay, so I think I hounded that topic enough. I just think it's sort of important because some of you may be even wondering if you got a financial aid award summary. So check out your email account, but let's move on. Let's talk about that award summary. And I have a question about that. So good timing. So the question is, where in the financial aid award summary does it say how much you actually pay for college? So I do need to preface what I'm about to say by saying that the award summary is based on this upcoming financial aid award year. So if you are coming to college here, beginning this coming fall semester, your financial aid year is the fall of 2021 and the spring of 2022. You filled out a 21-22 FAFSA, and the financial aid award summary that might look a little bit like what you're seeing on screen is going to display only the financial aid and cost information associated with this upcoming school year. So your financial aid opportunities, certainly your costs can change year to year. So on our financial aid award summary, we're just showing you this year. Now there is something called a SUNY award letter available in your My Plattsburgh portal. And the SUNY award letter does do a little bit of projection. So it will give you a little bit of information about your cumulative college costs. So what you're receiving in financial aid and being charged for your first year, basically multiplied out by 4 years, the assumption that it'll take 4 years to finish school. But on our financial aid award summary, this is what you'll see. You'll see your financial aid offers. We distinguish them by type and amount. And it also displays your estimated bill. So let's talk about the financial aid offers. Most of the financial aid showing in your award summary right now is showing as estimated awards. So the New York State TAP grant, the Excelsior Scholarship, possibly your federal Pell Grant program are showing and displaying in your award package as estimated awards. That's because there are sometimes activities that have to occur or authorizations, financial authorizations that have to happen in order for those funds to become finalized. So an example of that is the New York State TAP grant requires the fulfillment of a New York State budget for the year that provides support to that particular educational program. We are still waiting on the state budget. That hasn't happened yet. It typically occurs on or around April 1st each year or beyond. So at some future date, If you've submitted your TAP application and you have eligibility and the budget supports it, New York State will review your application and notify you and us of your confirmed award, what they determine to be your official award eligibility. In between now and then, we've provided you an estimate of what we think you will receive from New York State. Same with your federal Pell Grant. It very well may be estimated currently in your financial aid award package because we've looked at your FAFSA. We've determined what it looks like you will qualify for, but possibly you were selected for verification review. So we're asking you to provide us income documents and a verification worksheet in order for us to determine if the numbers we've listed for your Pell Grant eligibility are accurate. So there's some fine tuning and further action sometimes that needs to occur for your awards to become finalized. If you are receiving email communications every 2 weeks from my office saying you have outstanding items needed in order for us to complete the financial aid review, I strongly encourage you to respond to those requests and get that information that we're asking for back to us as soon as possible. You want to know how much college is going to cost you. So the sooner you can provide us those documents that the financial aid process is needing, the sooner we can sort of finalize any available financial aid resources and make those numbers a little more firm so that you can plan better for your college costs. One of the big unknowns moving forward is support for the New York State Excelsior Scholarship Program. You may be seeing in your financial aid award summary an estimated Excelsior Scholarship and Excelsior Credit Awards. That's because we are hoping that New York State supports it. It's our understanding that the governor intends to support the Excelsior Scholarship Program for new applicants. We are waiting to see. So if something changes, we'll certainly provide new communications. If it is supported in the state budget process, there will in the future be the availability of the Excelsior application. So you will need to submit the application in the window that they offer for that application timeframe. And we don't know what that yet will be. It usually is a very small window when that application is open and available for applicants. And then after you submit your application, you'll need to complete your service agreement. You'll need to be evaluated for eligibility for the program. You'll go through an income review that the state will do, and then maybe they'll offer you a finalized award. So there can be some significant follow-up steps with various aid programs. In addition to scholarships from the college and the Pell Grant and TAP Grant awards that may be offered in your award package, we're also going to provide you information about federal student loans. We certainly understand that some students will not be using student loans or are not interested in using them. They are considered financial aid opportunities though, and so we have to display to you the availability of them. You can decline them. You go right into your My Plattsburgh account to respond to your financial aid award package. And in that financial aid response that you can provide online is a way to accept or decline or accept a partial amount of the student loans offered to you. We have a question about what are the subsidized and unsubsidized loans? That's a great question. So the federal student loans available to, in this example that I'm showing on screen, this student is a first-year student. So the maximum total student loans available for the first year of study is $5,500. This student is eligible for a portion of that total to be subsidized and a portion to be unsubsidized. The federal subsidized loan is interest-free while the student is in college. So it is the better of the two student loan programs. The interest is being subsidized through the federal government. So throughout the student's college pursuit, that loan is not accruing interest. It does accrue interest during repayment. So once the student completes studies and enters repayment, and through the life of the repayment of that loan, there is interest. But while in school, there is no interest charged to that loan. So again, the better loan. The federal unsubsidized loan is the opposite. Regarding in school, it has interest being charged to the loan from the moment the college receives the funding. So you will have interest on that loan not only during repayment after school, but also while you're in school. Now, we don't know yet what the interest rate will be for you. The government sets the interest rate on federal student loans each year on July 1st. We usually find out a few weeks before that what the interest rate will be. So pending that future information, the thought process you're going to have now is, am I going to need to borrow? It's likely the interest rate will be reasonable. It's unlikely they will make it wildly, and there is a max, there's a ceiling on how much the interest rate can be. I think I have on a future screen the current interest rate. I suspect it'll be somewhere near that. So again, it's a student loan. You pay your student loans back after you graduate. Subsidized, no interest while you're in school, unsubsidized interest while you're in school. And yes, on the follow-up question on loans, can you just use part of the loans? Absolutely. You completely decide your participation, if any, in the student loan program. So that's like a perfect thought to have. Maybe I will just borrow if I'm going to borrow. Maybe I will only borrow the subsidized loan. Maybe I will decline the unsubsidized loan. That's an excellent thought. Now, all of this said, some of you do not have a subsidized loan displayed in your award package. The calculation that occurs to determine eligibility for the subsidized loan involves all that data you put on your FAFSA. So depending on your family's income and household circumstances, that calculation may result in you qualifying for $5,500 in total student loans, but possibly the entire $5,500 is only being made available in the form of the unsubsidized loan. So for some students, your decision is, am I borrowing an unsubsidized loan? And if so, how much? Okay. We're also going to show you information about possible eligibility in the federal work-study program, and that's a decision you can make to either participate or not participate, and it influences nothing in the future. So if you don't participate this year, you can in the future. It is simply a job. Our campus has 2 different student employment programs. Work-study is a student employment program that is largely in part funded by a financial aid resource called Federal Work Study. Our second student employment program at Plattsburgh, called Student Temp Service, is funded by the campus. They are all student jobs. So students who are interested in working on campus and earning a paycheck can learn about job opportunities through our web portal called Handshake. There's a link to Handshake in the award summary that we provide. There's also links all over our website to Handshake. We also usually have a job fair. It occurred virtually in the fall. It was fantastic. So I'm not sure if it'll be in person or virtually for this fall, but there's also that opportunity to learn about student jobs. If you participate in a student job, you earn a paycheck, and that money, whether it's work study or temp service, students typically use to help with living expenses and books and supplies and all those kinds of things. Student work study has really absolutely nothing to do with how you're going to pay for the direct part of going to college. So student jobs are just like every other job. You have to go to work to earn your paycheck. Most of the time, including what happens here at SUNY Plattsburgh, your student bill, what you will pay for the semester, is due long before you even locate a job, let alone go to work and earn your paycheck. So work study is not money that can be used to help you pay your direct bill to the college. Again, students tend to use their work earnings to help with their day-to-day living expenses, maybe tuck some of the money away to pay for future books, things like that. The estimated bill part of your financial aid award summary is our best way to share information about your possible college costs. So we add up what we think will be your direct costs: tuition, mandatory fees. Maybe you'll select some optional fees, like if you're bringing a car to campus, you might have a parking fee, just as an easy example. And then if you're living on campus, you will also have a meal plan charge and a room rent charge. We add all of those up, and then we subtract what we've offered as financial aid opportunities to display for you your estimated balance. Now you have to understand that we're making some assumptions in this estimated bill. We're going to assume that you are participating in all of the aid that we're displaying to you. If you make the decision to not use student loans, then you'll have to do your own math. Take your total charges that we're showing in your estimated bill and do your own subtraction of the financial aid programs that you anticipate participating in to calculate what you think your estimated balance may be. Also, the estimated bill obviously is being provided to you now and over the last few months as you received your award summaries. They're not truly what your final costs will be. Your final costs will be determined sometime over the summer pre-billing and will display to you obviously on your actual bill. They won't change drastically from what we're displaying on your estimated bill. The campus does tend to up some fees here and there each year. Sometimes tuition changes if SUNY deems that, but we're pretty certain tuition won't be changing this year. But regardless, we will provide you actual charges forthcoming as soon as they're available. In the meantime, this is a really good ballpark for you to plan for. And yes, we're going to talk in just a second about parent loans. Thank you. In addition to displaying your financial aid and your estimated bill, your award summary also discuss other estimated costs. So beyond the college bill, don't forget, you need to purchase books or rent books. You're going to have supplies that you may need to buy. You're going to have personal expenses. If you're living up here, likely you might need a pretty decent winter coat and maybe some winter boots. You're going to need spending money for whatever college kids spend money on. Transportation possibly to get up here and to get home on breaks. So don't be surprised by the other costs of going to college beyond the actual bill that we provide you for each semester. We provide options for how to pay for college, such as utilizing the college payment plans, which we'll talk about in a second. We also advise of the availability of federal parent loans and private student loans. We'll talk in a second about the availability of parent loans. Private loans, we don't give a lot of detail in the award summary, but we absolutely are happy to advise you on what options to explore when it comes to paying for college. We have financial aid advisors available every single day to talk on the phone with you. We also are scheduling virtual appointments where we can do screen shares and we can do video chats to go over your award summary. There's links from just about all of our financial aid web pages that you can click on to talk to a financial aid advisor and schedule that virtual appointment. So please reach out to us if you need guidance on these loans or clarification on anything we've discussed so far or are about to discuss. Additionally, the award summary mentions proxy accounts. So I know I did, it was important on us sending email notifications directly to the student's email address. That said, we offer something called proxy accounts. In the student's Plattsburgh portal, there is a link that says manage proxy accounts. That links various places in the portal. You'll find it on various screens. If the student does click that link, they can set up individuals with proxy accounts and designate what that proxy user has access to. So a student may wish to give a parent access to log in through their own proxy account to see the student's bill, to make a payment towards the student's bill, to view financial aid requirements and the financial aid award summary. All of that type of information. The student checks all the boxes for what access they want the individual to have. Some of that access also can be, might be granting verbal communication. So we will check if an individual calls who is not the student, we will check to see if that individual has been given proxy access. And if they've been given the right proxy access, then we may be allowed to have verbal conversations with that individual about the student's financial aid and billing accounts. So that's all access the student has and has control over who has access and what access they have. What do I need to do? It sometimes feels like it never ends. You fill out your financial aid applications, you think your job is done, and then all of a sudden we start sending all kinds of notifications to you saying you now need to do this or this now needs to happen. It will continue to happen over the next many, many months. Students who accept student loans are going to have to do multiple items to finalize that participation in the federal student loans. We may be asking you for income documents or proof of citizenship. New York State may be doing the same thing to finalize their application. You'll be sent communications from housing and orientation and registration and advising. So there is always something to do. We will contact the students via email about every 2 weeks and point them towards their My Plattsburgh account to view their financial aid requirements, which will change as we move along in the process of getting you ready to be a student. So best I can suggest is keep an eye out on your email regularly and log into your Plattsburgh portal regularly to view your financial aid requirements and any other tasks. Okay, so what happens? You've gotten your financial aid award summary, you're beginning to think about how you're going to pay for college, and then all of a sudden it's summertime. And over summer is when you participate in summer orientation and sign up for your classes. And about a week after you sign up for your classes, right about mid-July or so, you will receive an email advising you that your first semester's bill has been created. The bill is all online, again, nothing by paper, and you will, it's an interactive kind of thing. You will go online and respond to your bill and let us know which optional fees you want and which ones you don't want to finalize the total remaining bill balance. Your bill will come due around mid-August. And so if you think about that, we have May, June, July, less than 5 months before your first college bill is due. That sounds like a long time maybe, but it really isn't, and it's gonna fly. And we're gonna talk a little bit more just now about some things to do to get you prepped for that first bill and what happens beyond. So I don't know yet what your bill is, and the award letter, the award summary and the estimated costs, we're doing our best to give you guidance on what your possible bill might be. On screen, I'm trying to show you how it can vary student situation to student situation. So for the student in sample 1, that student is being charged tuition fees, room and meal plan, and is receiving a sizable amount of grant resources, as well as has agreed to participate in student loans. So in the example sample 1 column, this student has a smaller bill balance because of the more sizable amounts of financial aid opportunities available to the student. In sample student number 2, same charges, but possibly this student doesn't qualify for the free grant programs available through the state and federal governments, is only being offered a federal student loan, so obviously is going to be managing a much larger bill balance. And you could fall anywhere within those 2 scenarios or beyond those scenarios. Again, I can't advise it better than just to say, fill out your FAFSA, let us send you an award summary, and then we can begin the conversation about what your college costs are and how your what opportunities are available to help you pay those college costs. So I mentioned our college has 2 college payment plans. The college payment plans allow you to take that bill that's due in mid-August or your bill that's due in mid-December for the spring semester and spread it out over more than one payment. So our 2 payment plan, you would pay half of the bill when it comes due prior to the semester beginning, and you pay the other half halfway through the semester. So that would be October 20th for the fall. So it just gives you a little bit more time to manage that bill payment. Our 4 payment option spreads your bill out over 4 months. So you would pay a quarter of the bill in August, a quarter in September, a quarter in October, and then again in November. And similar situation for the spring term. There is a $35 application fee to sign up for the college payment plan, but there is no interest charged on the college payment plan. So again, some families find it to be perfectly helpful in managing your payment over just a smaller extended period of time. And it's nice that you don't have any interest charges, unlike possibly a credit card. Additionally, we talked a little bit about the federal student loans, the subsidized and unsubsidized that are offered to students, and or I should say unsubsidized. There's that interest rate that I couldn't remember. 2.75% is the current interest rate on federal student loans this year. I'm hoping come July 1st that the interest rate for next year will be not too very different from that rate. This screen also gives you an idea that the amount of student loans available does go up each year. So again, you don't have to participate, but in your second year of college, you would be offered a maximum of $6,500, then $7,500 in your future undergraduate years after that. Now, these ceilings are for dependent students. There is an exception for students to receive more than these maximum amounts if the student's parent demonstrates credit unworthiness in the parent loan application process. So next screen to explain that. The federal government offers federal parent loans, so the parent can borrow on behalf of the student's cost of education. The debt is in the parent's name. The parent can borrow as much as needed to help pay remaining college costs. So the maximum amount for a parent loan is whatever the student's costs are, minus any offered or available participating financial aid that the student uses. What's left is the maximum that a parent can borrow in the parent loan. There are times when parents become ineligible upon applying for the parent loan. A credit check occurs, and sometimes that credit check determines that the parent doesn't meet credit eligibility for the loan. They simply look to make sure that you have a positive credit standing. They don't look at your credit score. They don't look at your debt to income ratio. They will look to see if you have any adverse credit at the time of applying. So if you are delinquent and notified delinquent in your credit history on a current credit account, you may not be qualified for the parent loan program. Now, they do have an appeal process. They also have an endorser process, so you can be reconsidered for the loan if your credit is a bit troublesome at the time of applying. But also, those maximums on the previous screen that I'm showing now again of student loans, if the parent is deemed credit ineligible for the parent loan, students in their first and second year of study can get up to an additional $4,000 in the federal unsubsidized loan. So instead of $5,500 max, the new max for a first year student becomes $9,500 if a parent is deemed credit ineligible for a parent loan. In your third and fourth year, the additional amount is a maximum of $5,000 additional loan dollars for the available to the student. So there is an option if the parent applies for the parent loan, is credit ineligible, cannot qualify for an appeal or an endorser. The student themselves might be interested in borrowing more in the federal student loans. Okay. That was like a lot of information, and it can be sometimes a bit confusing for families and complicated because everybody's circumstances are a bit unique. So I do encourage you to call and talk with a financial aid advisor, or click on the link and schedule an appointment with an advisor, a virtual appointment, to talk through your individual scenarios and some of the thoughts you're having so that we can give you some further guidance. Great question in chat is, what if one parent is has good credit and the other maybe not so much? So it's whatever parent applies. So it is not a joint application. There's only one borrower for the parent loan. So the parent who applies for the parent loan is the parent whose credit is evaluated for that loan. So if that parent at the time of applying has okay credit, and again, they don't look at the credit score. They don't care how good the credit score is or how big it is or anything. They just look to see, does that individual currently have a delinquent credit account in their credit report? So if you wish to be eligible for the parent loan and one parent has troublesome credit and the other one is in good credit standing, have the parent in good credit standing be the borrower for this application cycle. Okay. All right, our website. Use our website to get information right now about the application process for financial aid. What do we offer in the forms of scholarships and financial aid programs, loans, and grants? Learn about those student employment opportunities. The bill payment plans are outlined pretty detailed on our website. All of our forms, if we're telling you that you need to submit a verification form to us, I'm trying to think of other forms. We've got like 30 forms listed on our website. Go there and download any forms that we're asking you to provide. Very good information. And like I said, links on our websites to set up those appointments to talk with a financial aid advisor. One really, really important conversation, two as we've talked about, how will I pay for college? That's a great conversation to have with us. Give a call. We're here all summer, all year, and let us have those conversations with you about paying for college. But in addition, there are so many families who are experiencing significant changes in financial ability and household income sources, particularly over the last couple years. It may be something you've planned for. A parent has been planning to retire, or some such scenario like that. Other families have had unexpected changes in income. The government, the federal government, allows for colleges to take changes in income under consideration. It's called special circumstance. And you can talk with us about your change in circumstance. We will direct you to fill out a form called a special circumstance form, where you'll give us the various detail about your income changes or household changes. And then that process will allow us to look at your FAFSA and the data that you've reported on it for this year, and possibly update it to reflect your new circumstances. So in a situation where you had to report your 2019 income, but now for 2021, somebody may have been out of work for several months, or maybe even a year or longer, or somebody recently had a job change or located a job, but it's at a lower pay rate than your previous job. A household may be experiencing a change in marital status. So when you filled out your FAFSA, the parents were married, now parents are separated or divorced. Any scenarios like that where there's been a significant change in financial ability from what was listed on the FAFSA, you should call and talk with a financial aid advisor and see if we need to perform a special circumstance review for you, and see if we can locate additional financial aid resources. Also, if you are a student who is dealing with very unusual household or family circumstances, possibly you don't even have a household or a traditional family definition, and are seeking ways of paying for college and struggling with getting your FAFSA submitted because you have a unique household or special circumstance, also call and talk with a financial aid advisor so we can support you through whatever process we need to help you through. Okay, so this is our financial aid office staff. Like I said, we're answering phones every day, 8:30 to 4, email anytime, schedule a virtual appointment. We all help out. We're all here to be part of your decision-making process as to the best extent that we can. And it's complicated, and I understand that. So let us help you with any questions you have and any thoughts that are concerning you. I made it through that info pretty quick. Not too bad. I have a question. Is there a due date for accepting the financial aid? We do not have a due date for filing for financial aid or accepting the financial aid, except to say that you can accept your financial aid award package based on the decisions you think are right for you now, and you can always change those decisions later. So for example, if you think at this moment that you might be participating in student loans, you can accept them. If a month from now, 4 months from now, you're like, nope, I don't want those loans, or I want to reduce the amount that I accepted, talk to us. We can make updates to the decisions you previously made. That's not a problem. I don't want to say forever you can change your student loans. Once we've gotten the money, there's some other steps involved to returning the money and such. But absolutely, you can make changes to any decisions you're making now. So don't feel like you need to wait to accept your award package because it locks you in. There is a lot of flexibility with your award package. Additionally, it's better to accept your award package so that we can begin asking you for those next steps. As I mentioned, if you accept a student loan, there will be other steps to take. If you accept the nursing loan, if you see your award package and you see the Excelsior Scholarship, and that interests you, you will later need to submit the Excelsior application. So there will be follow-up steps. So the sooner you start to make financial aid decisions, the sooner we'll start communicating what those follow-up steps are. Good question. Oh, there's a question now. Okay, good question too, because I do keep talking about that My Plattsburgh portal. The Plattsburgh portal, students access to their admissions application status and the stuff that follows that related to financial aid and housing and registration and orientation and all that. You have access to that from the moment that you've applied as a student. You do not have to pay a deposit to have access to your Plattsburgh portal. So, so when you go to plattsburgh.edu and click on the link that says My Plattsburgh, or go to plattsburgh.edu and click on undergraduate admissions to gain access to the application portal, there are instructions from both web pages on how to get into your portal if you're a first-time user, how to access your net ID and then create your password to use that portal. Good question. Any other questions tonight? Okay, well, I'll hang out another minute in case somebody is typing. If your thoughts are done for the evening, your brain's a little heavy from all of this information, thank you for joining me. This is recorded, so it'll be available to you at a future date, or just give me a call and let's talk as you go along here. Good luck with the rest of whatever your school year looks like. If graduation is approaching, if you're a high school senior getting ready to graduate, congrats, and good luck with everything that's forthcoming. And thank you for joining me tonight. Don't see any more questions having come in, so I'll go ahead and shut it down. Thanks, everyone. Be well.